Good evening. After 41 days, the stalemate that has paralyzed Washington appears to be over. Late Monday night, the Senate passed a bipartisan funding package, putting Congress on a path to finally reopen the federal government later this week. The breakthrough came after a group of 8 Senate Democrats broke from their party's leadership and joined with Republicans to advance the measure. Those same 8 Democrats provided the crucial votes needed to send the package to the House. The votes, which went late into the night, combined an updated continuing resolution with a trio of spending bills into a so-called minibus package. The continuing resolution, or CR, will fund the government through January 30th, 2026. For much of last week, it was unclear if a deal could be reached. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and his caucus had insisted they would only vote to reopen the government if they secured an ironclad deal to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits, which are set to expire at the end of the year. That specific deal never materialized. Instead, the 8 defecting Democrats accepted an offer that Senate Majority Leader John Thune has had on the table for weeks, a firm promise to hold a vote on legislation addressing the subsidies no later than the second week of December. While they did not get their primary demand met, Senate Democrats did secure other concessions. The final package includes a reversal of the Trump administration's firing of furloughed federal workers, a guarantee of back pay for those workers, and new protections for the federal workforce during future shutdowns. Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, one of the Democrats who crossed the aisle, said, "This was the only deal on the table. It was our best chance to reopen the government and immediately begin negotiations." Now, all eyes turn to the House. Speaker Mike Johnson has said he will bring the chamber back into session immediately and anticipates a vote by Wednesday. However, he does not plan to fast-track the legislation, a move that would require a 2/3 majority. This signals an awareness of opposition within his own party and from House Democrats. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries confirmed this on Monday, stating that his party will not support a partisan Republican spending bill that, in his words, continues to gut the health care of the American people by leaving the ACA tax credits unaddressed. While a path to reopening the government is now clear, the effects of the 41-day shutdown continue to ripple through federal programs, most critically the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. The fight over food benefits for 42 million low-income Americans has escalated into a chaotic legal saga involving the White House, the courts, and nearly half the states. The conflict began when the Trump administration, citing the shutdown, announced it would only fund 65% of SNAP benefits. A federal judge, John McConnell, quickly intervened, ordering the administration to make the full payments available and giving the USDA less than 24 hours to comply. He noted, "It's likely that SNAP recipients are hungry as we sit here." In response, the Trump administration appealed, calling the judge's order an unprecedented injunction that makes a mockery of the separation of powers. Then on Saturday, the administration threatened to impose steep economic penalties on states that followed the court order and paid out full benefits. This has led lawyers for roughly 24 states to head back to court, seeking an emergency intervention to block the administration's threats. New York Attorney General Letitia James declared, "Food assistance is not a political issue. It is a moral imperative." The administration is simultaneously fighting on another legal front, urging the Supreme Court to uphold an emergency stay on the judge's order. In a filing, administration lawyers argued that the only way to end the crisis is for Congress to reopen the government, not for federal courts to reallocate resources without lawful authority. The states have until tomorrow morning to file their response with the Supreme Court, leaving the immediate future of food assistance for millions hanging in the balance. Beyond the immediate crises of the shutdown and SNAP funding, a fierce debate is intensifying over another Trump administration policy with major economic implications: the H-1B visa program. This program allows U.S. companies to hire highly skilled foreign workers in specialty occupations for an initial period of 3 years, which can be extended to 6. In a September proclamation, President Trump decried what he called the systemic abuse of the program, which he said is fueling the large-scale replacement of American workers. To address this, the president instituted a dramatic new policy, a $100,000 fee for any company seeking to obtain an H-1B visa. The move has been widely criticized by business leaders, especially in the tech industry, which accounts for up to 70% of all new H-1B applications. The debate has split both the public and the Republican Party. Critics, which include bipartisan figures like Senators Dick Durbin and Chuck Grassley, argue the program has strayed from its original intent of attracting top global talent and is now used to import cheaper foreign labor, depressing wages for American workers. On the other side, prominent figures like Elon Musk argue the program is essential for America's competitive edge, though even he has said the program is broken and needs major reform. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which supports the program, has sued the Trump administration to stop the implementation of the $100,000 fee. The lawsuit argues the fee is unlawful and would make it cost-prohibitive for startups and small businesses to utilize the program. The administration is also moving to narrow the definition of a specialty occupation and increase worksite compliance inspections. With legal challenges ongoing and bipartisan calls for reform in Congress, the future of this critical and controversial immigration program remains deeply uncertain. Finally, looking ahead, the nation's highest court is preparing to weigh in on a fundamental aspect of the electoral process. The Supreme Court announced yesterday that it will take up a case challenging a Mississippi law that governs the counting of mail-in ballots. The law in question was passed as an emergency measure during the COVID-19 pandemic in July 2020. It allows mail-in ballots to be counted as long as they are postmarked on or before Election Day and are received by the local registrar no more than 5 business days after the election. A group of Republicans challenged the law, and the case now asks the Supreme Court to decide if states can legally count ballots that arrive after Election Day has passed. The justices have not yet set a date for oral arguments. However, a decision is expected by the end of June 2026. The timing is significant, as the court's ruling would land just a few months ahead of the 2026 midterm elections, potentially reshaping election rules in states with similar laws across the country.